Hello, everybody. Mauricio Garcia here. As every day, we come to you live to talk about the things, the secrets that can really take you from where you are now to where you want to go, especially if you are that driven, determined dreamer who's decided to go in business, is thinking about going in business, have a side hustle that you want to grow it into a business, a real business, I should say. And so who better to learn from than a Hall of Fame entrepreneur who is my friend, who's my partner, my mentor, a person I respect a lot for who he is and as a person. But he's done many great things in business. And so we're lucky to have him here. Hubert, of course, I'm talking about you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, buddy? I'm just glad to be here. We got two serial dreamers, two serial entrepreneurs talking to a whole bunch of other people that we hope will become serial successful entrepreneurs, and we're going to try to give them some secrets and some support to do that.
That's why this project right here energizes me for what I think is the capability, what I think it can accomplish over time. So, anyways, let's jump right into it. You know, I heard one time that everything that we need to be successful, like we are born with it. As I was growing as an entrepreneur, I see people that was to my right, to my left, always complaining. Like, you know, it's the government's fault. It's my mom's fault. It's my dad's fault. It's my friend's fault. Everybody else was at fault for them not achieving what they wanted, right? And I fell victim of that too for a while, till I was able to snap out of it, because I knew that I had everything in me. Like, even it's not about having the money or anything like that. So these traits of a winner, you have them in your book, and I read it and I say, that's it. That's exactly what people need to know, because these things they are inside of us. They, like, you know, love, like dedication, like loyalty, like all these things are part of these traits of a winner that you need in order to be successful. So you wrote it, you have it. So let's jump into it. What's the traits of a winner?
Before we jump into those, you just mentioned something inside of everybody. I liken a human being, because when God created us, the Spirit of God is in every one of us. I don't care if we're the poorest person or wherever we live and wherever we're at, the most educated or uneducated, the poorest country. I don't care where we are. If we're a person that's a derelict or someone that might be an invalid, whatever they are in life, deep down inside of those people is the ability to do anything they want to do. The key is getting it out of them. I liken it to a bottle of Coca-Cola. You know, the old-fashioned bottles of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You see a bottle of Coca-Cola, and it's really nice looking bottle, and it's just a passive dark liquid in that bottle. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
But when you pop the top off of that and you put your thumb in there and shake it up, and that thing goes to fizzing, those secret ingredients in that were lying dormant in that Coca-Cola now are aroused, and boom, it just spews everywhere. And that's the way a person is. All we got to do is get all shook up a little bit. We've got to have something that pops our top off and shakes us up. And the word enthusiasm, for example, all of us have enthusiasm, but the word enthusiasm comes from the Greek words entheos, meaning God within. So every one of us has got this power within us. Enthusiasm. It comes from that entheos. It's the act of getting that power of God activated in our lives to where we can go out and do it. And some of these things we want to talk about here today, like, for example, to be the traits of being a winner, like energy, character, integrity, leadership, competitive spirit, tenacity, independence, and drive. And we could go on and on. All of those things are the seeds of it are in us. We just have got to have leadership, and we always talk about the system. It gives it a chance for us to do it long enough until it all activates these things, and we don't even really have to so you don't really have to focus. I tell you, I'm gonna focus on learning how to have character. No, you develop character in the process. You know, like being like energy. Where does energy come from? Vision. We talked about vision on the show yesterday. When you stretch vision, you can now see something, and all of a sudden the desire level starts to increase, and that even if it can go from a desire up to a passion, an obsession, and at varying degrees of temperature of that vision, and what it ends up doing, it gives you energy. That's where your energy source comes from. It comes from being vision stretched constantly. It's something like a character. Character is what you finally. It's when you finally resolve that I've got the power. I'm gonna stay at it. I'm gonna finish the job. No matter how tough it is. I'm gonna be able to stay. I'm gonna be able to keep myself vision stretched. I'm gonna be able to stay in the game. I'm gonna play hurt. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna stay at it. I got character, and it's sort of mental toughness is another word for it. And so you got character and integrity.
I want to mention something. Sorry for interrupting you. Is that we are all in wherever place we are in right now because of the character we've built so far. I believe. And unless we wanted to change that, it's like we have to kind of become this new person with this new character. And this new character has to have a whole new set of things, habits, right? Because you can't be who you want to be being who you are today. That's why when you said, characters build over time, it's like you becoming this new person as you progress in life and you acquire experiences and all these different things, right?
That's the key. We're either growing or dying, and that growing is the strengthening of our character, the strengthening of learning new abilities, sharpening our skills, overcoming weaknesses. That's what growing really means.
I am not the same. I'm not the same as I was 5 years ago, as an example.
Right.
If I look back, whole different paradigms and just values that I go by now more important than before, but I'm not the same person.
And the way that evolution occurs, I remember, I don't know, it had to have been 40 years ago when I read a quote one time from the philosopher Emerson, where he said the only difference between you today and you 5 years from now will be the people you meet and the books you read. Now,
because you build a new character. Inevitably,
it was a great. What am I saying? It was a great quote back then. But over the years, I have found that Hubert Humphrey today is a lot of things are the same, but there's a whole lot of things different about Hubert Humphrey today because of the books I've read, the people I've met, blah blah blah. And this thing about competitive spirit, how you keep your competitive spirit alive. It goes right back to what you were just saying about the new you. The new you has to keep beating the old you. And if the new you can keep beating the old you, you're going to be moving forward. You're going to be strengthening everything. You're going to be going towards your goal. You're going to be more successful. So don't worry about it. A lot of people say, I can't, everybody else has ended ahead of me. Everybody else has done this. Woe is me. No. The only person you've got to beat is the new you today.
Wow,
beats the old. If you got to go look way back in your life and find when it was the best you was 20 years ago. Well, are you just going to spend all these last 20 or 30 years being lesser than the best you? You need to be striving. Striving. What's that old saying? Aim for the stars. Else what is the heaven for? You can't reach the stars with your hands, but boy, you're going to be so much closer than you ever were by doing it.
Yeah, I was just, my mind was just going to all these different places as I hear you, talk about these things, and integrity, leadership, competitive spirit. I mean, you have this list, but it's actually longer than what we have here for people. But I think the message is, the winners have these traits, and and if we can write them down and identify them, we could kind of look at where we are and how we are applying this. Like you use that Coca-Cola analogy. Are we arousing these things? Are we causing these things to be priority in our lives to be able to be a winner? Because without these, you can't be a winner. If you don't have the energy, the character, the integrity, leadership, competitive spirit, tenacity, independence, I don't see how anybody could even possibly win anything without these things.
Well, and then it talks about, one of the words is independence and drive. Well,
right.
In our business, the way our model works, we're independent, but we're unitedly independent. We're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. And so it's one thing to be an independent person, but if you're independent, if you're independent, but in a group of independent people, or in a long geometric lineage of independent people that you're being affected by and helped by, well, that independence that's powerful independence. That's a united independence, and that's the key to that whole thing. There is that drive. General Patton, if you just wanted to summarize in just one phrase what winners win and losers lose. You've heard that before.
Yeah.
But Patton says the way to win is to refuse to lose. And now there's a whole sermon that can be preached on how do you refuse to lose, and it includes all these things here. You got to make up your mind. What Victor Hugo once said, "There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind." A made-up mind. You make up your mind and refuse that you're not going to give in. You might get knocked down, but you're not going to stay down. You're going to keep getting up. You're going to put a little salve on your wounds, and you're right back at it. You're just going to stay at it until you win. That's refusing to lose, and that's what this thing's all about. You may not know everything you need to know. You may not have all the answers yet, but you can make up your mind that I'm going to hang around till I figure it out. I'm going to keep doing it till I get it straight. The reason why I'm sitting here today is I kept my trying motor going. I tried lots of things to get away from the railroad. None of them worked. But one day I tried another thing, and it was the beginning of A.L. Williams, and look at here we are today. So you keep the trying motor going. That's the key.
Very good. I think, do you remember that moment you got clarity? What you're saying, to get that drive, to make up your mind, you had to at least see something. It doesn't have to be the end product, because I know kind of the vision kind of changes as you get new information and you go about building a business, growing in life in general. Just to share, I don't know if you remember that moment in time when you had that clarity in mind to say, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, the most important clarity was when I was...
Like you made up your mind.
Well, my vision was I wanted to go out, get out and be somebody and be something special. And I'd gone off to Georgia Tech and was gone to Tech for a couple of years. That's a very great school, and I was going to be an engineer, electrical engineer, and get a good job with a big company with benefits and all that kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden, I ended up what I thought was a summer job on the railroad. I'm trapped 17 years later. But it was after that first 4 years on the railroad, my trying motor had stopped. I'd shut it down. My dream motor had shut down, and I would just ride along, mistaking the beginning of life to be the end of it, thinking this is the good. And I got trapped in a bunch of things out there making a little money. And then but all of a sudden I awakened like an epiphany on the railroad one day, and just what am I doing here? Who put me here? Blah blah blah. I've told that story before, but at that moment, it was a moment of clarity for me. That man, I don't want to stop the train. Let me off. I'm gonna jump off this. I wanted to get out. Now it took me almost 14 more years to get away, but man, I woke up every morning with one thing on my mind. What can I find to get me away from this railroad? And I went through it. And I did that for 14 more years with clarity. before I found what I wanted. But that if I had not awakened finally from that little coma I was in of life, and everybody goes through these things. Some people never wake up. In fact, we got a bunch of humans. We got zombies running all over this country today, and they're just the mindlessly wandering around, aimlessly taking what's going on. You know, that old definition of a job. You know, I'm working for a living, just taking what they're giving. That's a Huey Lewis song, you know. And another definition of a job is I'm working just hard enough to keep them from firing me, and they're paying me just enough to keep me from quitting. So that sort of describes the mass of humanity out there today. And all I know is if you don't wake up out of that coma and get recrank up that trying machine, get back at it, stay at it, and get vision stretched again, do something somewhere. Maybe this podcast will help start the stretching for you, whatever it is, and get involved in something. You get involved with us, I promise you one thing. I can't promise you're gonna get. I promise you got a chance to make a lot of money. I promise you got a great chance to be successful. But even if you didn't, the worst thing's gonna happen in your association with us is I'm gonna stretch your vision, whether you like it or not, and that's not a bad thing, because that's the only way you're going to solve your challenges and reach your great goals in life is to do something about you. Guess what? Don't try to do something about everybody else. How about doing something about you? The only person that's going to really help you achieve your success is you. We can't do it. We've had millions of people join us in all these companies over the years.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do it for them, but we could do it with them. We could help them, and a lots of different ones of them at different levels have assimilated that knowledge and have kept their desire level enough to go to the top. I guarantee you, I don't care how big somebody's been successful people we've had in the company. We've had a lot of them. We've contributed and given them a tool and a system and an opportunity, blah blah blah, and done something along the way. But ultimately, they developed. They went from they had enough drive and urgency in their life when they started that it got them down the path, and they kept building on that drive and that desire, and it built up, and they were able to go on their own and use these tools. So they were the ones that did it. We hear the story about the self-made men, the self-made success stories.
Yeah.
Well, you're self-made a little bit in that you gotta have your own fire burning inside of you before somebody else can help stoke that fire and keep it going. But our business, I tell people, we're a bunch of team-made millionaires who want to produce more team-made millionaires. That increases your odds when it's a team-made millionaire as opposed to a self-made millionaire. Because being a self-made millionaire, Absolutely. That means you did it all by yourself, and I don't know a whole lot of them.
No, Great point, and just this great message there to round it up. I was just going to say, hey, look, there's probably a lot of the people right now that are in a situation like you were, trapped in the railroad, trapped in the train, looking for that vehicle that was going to get you from that. You were doing that just because you had to do it, right? You had a family on the way, maybe already had a family, and you had to do that. And I know a lot of people, we all go through having a job, but most people are trying to escape from that and create their own destiny, create their own, write their own book in the way that they want. And they're going to need a vehicle to be able to do that. Linear income is very rarely allows people to really dream and accomplish the things that they really want to experience in life. And so the reason I say that is because if to this day, if it's the first time listening to this podcast, or if it's the 96th time you're listening to the podcast, I think this would be episode 96 or something like that, getting close to 100, is that every time we invite you to check out the Hegemon Group International opportunity, because it's the best opportunity in America today, period. Not only because it's a crusade that is operating in the largest industry in the world, but it also has the best leadership ever assembled. It's got the best track record in history, and it's got the best system that can help us accomplish, our dreams. And these things that we talk about are just a very small taste here. I mean, it's very big, but compared to what we get in direct leadership and being exposed to the system, looking at you today and what you could become, because you need to become somebody else to do that. But anyways, a lot more to be said. What I really wanted to just invite you to, yes.
It's the difference between making a living and making a life. And that's what it is.
Yeah, and with that, we can wrap it up. But without forgetting to invite you to go check it out right now. Go check out the HGI Opportunity by going to, HGIopportunity.com. HGIopportunity.com. Thank you so much, Hubert, for all the value you bring every single day to us, to this podcast, and to you that is listening. If you got value out of this podcast today, make sure you share. Make sure you comment if you are watching this live on YouTube. If you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, make sure to also share, because there's a lot of driven, determined dreamers out there that need to find us, because they need to know that they have other people that are in their same frequency, and we can together accomplish our dreams together, conquer our future. Hubert, have a great day. Everybody else, have an awesome day as well. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms, as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.